What is going on, everyone? Astrology Eric Rosen here, and I wanted to pop in with a special astrology update because we are heading into this Mars square Saturn. This Mars in Sagittarius that is square over to Saturn that is now direct in Pisces. It has been for a couple of weeks now. We're close to it. It's a major checkpoint for the soul. It's an opportunity to say, do you really want to double down on delusional identity beliefs of self that have been sparsed together that in all likelihood are negative and holding in victim patterns? Or would you like to switch it up and become, by the end of the week, more of the galactic identity that you really are? Meaning everyone's rooting for full disclosure, ET disclosure. What about the ET side of ourselves as humans? I know that might sound crazy, but hear me out here. We've got South Node in Virgo. It's the human part of the journey. That's what we're releasing. It's Chiron in Aries. The wounded human, the identity of us. We're not functioning on the true reality of who we really are. And that North Node in Pisces has been asking us to kind of glow up into a higher vibration, to see that there is no such thing as a glass ceiling, to see what higher dimensional realities we can actually reach into and frequency wise, and actually allow our minds to tune in to being the receiver that it's meant to be. And that we're dissolving a lot of these subconscious delusional beliefs that have been part of a weird matrix illusionary reality, especially since 2011 with Neptune and Pisces, that we can upgrade now. That Mars, by the end of the week, is going to square over to Neptune, and that Mars going through Sagittarius, passing through the galactic center of the universe, we can, again, triple down on the delusional beliefs and try to keep winning and forcing things to happen and kicking 1,000-yard field goals and believing that we're going to make it. Or we could also look at that Mars that's quincunx over to that Uranus and see that the lower timelines come when the ego is calling the shots. So just be careful right now. If you're making major long-term decisions, like allow me to save you the headache, this is not the time to do it. Especially if you can't live with if you miss the shot. If you can't live with the loss, don't do it, because Saturn is keeping score big time. And these are major scores here. These are fucking touchdown points, right? This is where things are getting very much accorded into the Akashic records. And so we have to look at this as like a sobriety checkpoint where you got to ask yourself the question and check in as you come to this checkpoint. And the popos that Saturn is in Pisces, that's wanting to do a breathalyzer, and ask yourself, have I been drinking? Am I drunk? Do I know where the fuck I'm going? Did I even need to take this route? Was I paying attention? Did I need to drive and actually try to go where I wanted to go when I'm under the influence of something dark, negative, right? Literally the demon star alcohol, that's where the term alcohol comes from. Beer, wine, and spirits. That's how negative entities and demons get in. So not a good time for the alcoholics out there, sorry. But I mean, even most of the collective at this point now is starting to lean more straight edge, which, I mean, I'm not that. I use substances like psilocybin and ayahuasca and, different medicinal forms of things for insight and healing, but it sure as shit is not the fucking party. It's to break through to the other side of the understanding of who I really am, so that I can adapt to this ever-changing reality. We get a chance to really glow up here and go into the new horizons that are coming in February 2027, having shed a lot of the identities and the weight, and step into these higher vibrations that we talk about in spiritual community of love and enlightenment. And there's a lot of beauty that can come from that, but we have to kind of stare down the barrel of the shotgun here a little bit of, where do we self-implode and surrender too much to the things that we shouldn't, and not eject on life, and to actually take advantage of the opportunities that are showing up, and to be humble with it, and to like not forget like the gratitude and the abundance of like what the universe is providing, and to see the wealth consciousness in that, and to not go out and chase and try to drive home drunk looking for more, like always looking for the next sensational thing. You know, this whole thing about galactic identity, it's like it's a legit thing. Like, this is where we can see the higher horizons of eternity, even like that Mars in Sag square over to that Saturn, Neptune, and Pisces that deals with, you face the fears of the endings, and 12th house Pisces land and Neptune, to be like, wow, like actually there is something on the other side. It is a rebirth. And so the rebirth collectively is coming in 2027, but how many people are actually, you know, ready to let go of that? So, I mean, if I were to appeal to, you know, most people's senses, it would be like, hey, you want to stop feeling pain in the body and discomfort and all this South Node and Virgo stuff? Like, go to that North Node Pisces and see what is the universe trying to open up. And I think that Mars approaching that galactic center that's currently square Saturn, and then when it does hit the galactic center and starts squaring over to Neptune, it is saying like, you rise above the human intellect and you reach to something higher. And it's not about leaving the body. It's definitely not about escapism. It's definitely not about doubling down to that there's only like one belief system that we need to lock into, because that's that Mars square Saturn too, of like, this is it. Even if we think it's positive, because that's where the delusion is. It's like, it's just this one belief, and out of all the beliefs, and I'm right, and fuck everyone else, and this is how I'm going to like win or succeed, or this is what I got to lock in. And that's when we start making big leaps, and we blow through the sobriety checkpoint when we weren't even drinking. Like, there was no reason to blow through it, and to actually go, well, you know, fuck that up just because of the overzealousness. Like, this is not the time to initiate new things. Like, we're moving out of the peak of the energy of a full moon in Gemini, square the nodes. Like, hello, it's mutable energy, it's change. It's where we start changing directions. But it's like changing the frequency dials more, of like where we can go with our dreams, but not like trying to like cash out on the current reality, because those leaps don't work. There's no foundation. That Uranus is saying, hey, I'm not even like, I've been retrograde here in Taurus. I've not went direct to show you like the final echelon of the major physical changes that need to come into the reality to like really finally update the software, the value systems, and to let our central nervous system actually start to feel more fully successful, because we're no longer subscribing to the collective norm, especially like social media or keeping up with the Joneses stuff with Pluto and Aquarius, where Aquarius is, of course, the home of Uranus. And it's like, you start to feel more at home in your body because you're just being you and you're speaking your values, right? So for the spiritual minded folk, this brings up the throat chakra too, like in Taurus, like the radical expression of like what it is that you're channeling, like what it is that you feel is something that can be delivered to the world, the collective, that can actually like help it pivot and go in a better direction. But we have to really embody our own values, especially when that Mars makes that quincunx. And so it can be one thing to be like, I know that I'm a big deal, or I know like my galactic identity, you know, that I'm like this big hotshot energy, that's some spiritual essence that goes beyond just even like our given name at birth, and the labels and the compartments, the identities, and just like the, you know, here's your social security number, and just that whole rigmarole of the titles, the job functions, everything that we do And we can say that, and I see this a lot in the spiritual community. It's like, throwing around all these cool, like almost cliche spiritual titles, but then I look and there's some people that are not, like, it's like they're trying to convince themselves. And so like we have to be in this position where it's like we're actually doing the things that we say that we're doing or that we say that we're about. Like, there cannot be any preaching with these transits. Like, we can't like come out and start shouting about a belief system that becomes like dogmatic, especially if we don't even have the receipts like to show that it's like even successful. Like, I couldn't sit here and do these horoscopes if I hadn't been doing them for years and doing the readings and doing all the sessions I do in the coaching work and actually helping people get unstuck and shift gears in their life and go to a higher level, ready or not. Like, if I hadn't done that, if I didn't actually have the receipts doing it, it's kind of weird too, because this squares had me thinking about, going back to 2020, and immediately with the CV thing and just being like, yeah, don't be afraid of this. I'm not afraid of it. Like, don't be afraid of it. And I think this is a good reminder too, because, Pisces rules the media. And so with Mars and Sag too, it's like, if we get scared, that this is where we start like believing like the consensus reality subconsciously by mistake, and the fear starts connecting as the mind is the receiver to like something that's more of a collective unconscious thing that's almost like a de-evolution, which I would say is people going back to religion, like rushing back to trying to find Jesus Christ and God through one of the worst control systems like ever. Like, I'm sorry, but I've had so many past lives like dealing with the churches and the monasteries of just authority systems saying fucking don't dare question us, to be like, I'm gonna flip you the bird, like, and it's like not gonna get silenced by it like Neo did when he was detained, like in the first Matrix movie. Because the truth is that the control, the dark, the forces that we know are out there, they've got their hands full because they can't squeeze all us light workers. They're only really hoarding the people at this point that, I hate to say it, but lack courage, lack bravery, like lack the conviction, and bless everyone's heart that's just trying to like live their life and try to find easy peasy breezy like living. But that gets created when we take control of our own, places where we've either indoctrinated ourselves with delusional beliefs about who we are, trying to like overly rebel too, because this brings up the weird part about Pluto and Aquarius, where it's kind of like, is it rebellion out of fear or is it truth? And so the other side of it, of course, is like, people that are just getting herded like the sheep to the slaughterhouse, to like just the next indoctrination thing. And the problem is that it's hard to trace the origins at this point of like where it's coming from with Pluto and Aquarius, because there's so much. And so it's weird because we're afforded these like really rare opportunities of like grand awakening that is, again, not meant to be delusional. Like, people fucking claiming that they're like a messiah or something like that, like all of a sudden, like in their spiritual community or some weird shit, or saying fuck, I don't think it would be the family right now. I mean, we are in a grand water trine too, where it's like for some people it could feel stuck in that like lazy slothfulness, because Mercury just came out of shadow in Scorpio. Jupiter's slow as fuck because it's now retrograde, and then Saturn is still gaining speed direct. And so we're holding pretty strong in this grand water trine where it's like, I don't think people are struggling so much with the family as maybe more it could feel like I would call it like a heat sink, where we lose the thermal dynamics of our passion and our intensity for like holding the line to make sure that we're not letting our beliefs like go into, especially a space of thinking that like the loss, the disappointment, that it's ending, that it's all going to go bad or something, or and of course this, again, it brings up the feeling kind of stuck, or feeling the, is it going to get better, for some people have that, or the just trying to hold it together part is the big part. And that's really the part I want to hopefully wrap this up with. And I am notorious for saying I am ending with this and then I keep going, but it's like I'm a fucking Mercury in the ninth, so with my balsamic moon there too, so it's just like constant fucking subconscious channeling. But the holding it together part is the scared part of us that fears the demise of the human intellect controlling and managing things, that thinks that it's got to hold it together, and then can even get a weird sense of like egoic pride in it, like, look at me, look how hard I'm making it. It's like, shut the fuck up. Like, you like you can find and release the ease and the tension and the stress in the body. Like, stop searching for the next fucking stimulant hit or to-do list or task or thing, and go surrender and do something spiritual that actually gets you into the headspace to see what the fuck is trying to come through, because it's big. But if we don't surrender and allow it and just let the universe and let Saturn more kind of like show us, like, not just what we're closing out, because it is closing out a huge chapter, especially of the ego, of what it wants and its delusional dreams. And I've been saying this, and people are going to start seeing it here, especially by 2027, dreams that were never meant to work because they were based on the illusionary catalog of the matrix reality that we were living with, and that the dream has to be more like the embodied one that is actually achievable, that is brave and cohorted with others that are loyal to the vision, that is coming from more of an intuitive spiritual place. And ironically, where it's the vision and the dream like kind of collapses because we were already meant to wake up to be like, we're in the dream. Like, we're in it, like we are the dream, like it's the waking up to being like, oh, I just like live my life and I can make it exciting and I can go in a direction that actually feels fruitful because my intuition and my excitement are guiding me. And that aliveness, that awakening in the vessel somatically of the body is waking us up from dormant years of chronic psychological stress from the media, from stressful situations that are coming to a head with some people. It's like working jobs or living a day-to-day life that they hate, that they feel enslaved to, like a serf. Like, some people I think are really playing out some past lives right now of like being a serf in a kingdom and never like making it to knighthood and the bravery part. And because we are in a lot of past lives right now, which of course, if you're gonna get past life regression, reach out. But I don't think that there's anything to fear right now. Like, I've said this in horoscopes over the months and years, like, don't fear the Reaper, like the Grim Reaper. Don't fear Pluto, what it's doing in the uncertainty. Don't fear that Uranus that's in Taurus, where its home is Aquarius, hasn't like turned the electricity on yet, and things don't feel like they're charging forward or moving fast enough. Honestly, this is astrology where it's been more about receiving that galactic identity and our godhood and like who we really are and our skill set, what we're capable of, and the open-hearted, loving energy that it takes a big person to like kind of walk softly but carry a big stick, I think, as Teddy Roosevelt put it, where it's like, we're powerful spiritual beings, but so many of us have experienced those past lives of power abuse, and we're being abused by power. And that's the collective outrage, I think, at this point, is people are tired of feeling like their power, their voice is being stripped away, and that somehow things are being done to them. But this is waking up out of the illusion that we can only really believe that we don't have our potency, and that we're poor spiritually and abundantly, and financially, and just in any area of life, that there's a story of poverty. It only happens if the ego believes it. So appreciate you all. If you want to reach out, get an astrology reading. If you want to check out Alchemy Arc, which is my newest offering, my 3-month, you could call it coaching healing container, but really it's more to midwife the new identity that we're starting to step into, especially by February 20th when Saturn and Neptune meet. But it is that program that's the one-on-one work that I do that's designed to troubleshoot the blocks, because I know how to get in there. I'm like, I know where those traumas are at and what age and what the fuck's going on. And those are energetic blocks, and energy has to move, like the energy has to move if we want to move forward and create. And so then by the end of that 3 months, it is taking your idea or what it is you want to do for, maybe it's a business or a career, whether it's already started or you're just feeling stuck and you need to go to the next level. You're looking at timing, how we get like the ducks in a row to make that successful. I've been having a lot of people more so lately coming to me where it's like they have something they want to create, like they have especially like a digital presence that they want to establish, which hoorah, it's like that's really what we need to be doing, unless we want to be like the people that felt like just shuttered into our houses, while it feels like there's a spiritual war going on, like people do in